So it's time to talk about some weird stuff. It's going to get weird. Weird podcast. Well, no, because it has to do with Japanese manga-ish news thing. It's just really weird. So, okay. Basically, right? And it's funny, I get offended about this on, like, so many levels, but, like, don't... I feel like the comments are going to be like, triggered, snowflake. But, like, let's just talk about this, right, Tristan? So, apparently, there was a manga that came out. It was just a manga strip. So it was like maybe like 10 pages or something. And it was basically saying like, imagine a world without sexual desire. And you're like, I wasn't planning on it, but all right, here we are.
All right, we're here. Yeah.
And it was really, I would
pose this idea.
Yeah, and I want to say that it's dumb, but that's really understating the stupidity. Because basically what it's trying to... And here's the thing, too, that was sad, right? So it was written and I believe, not just, like, drawn, also, like, the script was written by a comedian, a comedy manga writer. So you could try to hand-wave this all as a joke, right? The problem with that is that apparently... That was, it was written by a comedy writer, but backed up. The reason why it was made by a... Oh, wait, no, it's illustrator... illustrator So, who I believe is the comedian, and psychiatrist Yuki. So a psychiatrist is trying to give it an air of like, oh, well, this is what smart things are. And it was just, oh my god. So, yeah, why am I so offended, right? Why am I so upset? It's the fact that the guy... Okay, so first off, it seemingly only affects the guy. Even though, basically, it starts off with a guy and a girl on a date. And they're going to a fancy restaurant, Tristan. It's all fancy, right? And then he gets hit with this beam ray. And he realizes, wait a minute, I don't want to spend money on you in this fancy restaurant. Which, by the way, I want to mention, he didn't think this. The character didn't think this. Because look, you know what? You're allowed to think whatever you want to think. You can still be called out on it, but like I don't think we should be thought police and focusing on what people think. It's what they say, what actually comes out of their mouth in a public space or to a person one-on-one that we can then judge them on, right? So he didn't think this as a character. He said, I don't want to take you out to this expensive place. We're taking you out to a cheaper place. As if you can't go to an expensive place with a friend. Like, that's the problem. This didn't just take away his sexual desire. He then apparently becomes an asshole.
Yeah.
Because, like, Tristan, right? I mean, us having friends who are ladies? What? No. Who would want that, right? Then we have to be nice to other people that exist. I mean, you and I, right? Not only do we never eat anywhere, expensive, but we're always assholes to each other. Actually, no, let's not.
Right, I was about to say, and it also brings up the idea, it's like, oh, so you're just an asshole to your male friends all the time, too, because that's how guys interact. And they even make a joke about that, too, like, oh, and, I don't have to be polite, the character basically going off the idea of, we can speak to each other frankly about, about everything. It's like, yes, because men don't lie to each other either.
Right, yeah. It's getting a little bit harder to hear you, but yeah, so basically what it's saying, get closer to the mic. Although maybe you're hitting the mic. I don't know. Your mic's very interesting. Mine is as well. But, no, but the point is that you were saying, and it was true, like, yeah, like, guys don't lie to other guys. It's hilarious. Like, imagine, guys are always honest about every little thing. A man would never lie to another man. It's just like, okay. Right? Like, crime never happens, male on male. It's always just like, hey man, would you be able to give me your wallet? I'm thinking of robbing you. Well, man, I'm sorry, but
I kind of need that wallet.
I'm
sorry to hear that, but I need that wallet more.
Yeah. Great. Did you just casually stab me? No, but I'm just...
I mean, no. I mean, yes.
Well, because you can't lie, so you have to say yes. Because you're always so on it. Like, that's the... So, again, men apparently... And here's the thing, right? If anyone... There's going to be some people on this video, commenting on the video, saying, yeah, but that happens to some people. That's cool. not cool. They're jerks. But some people, no. But like,
I love
look,
it when I get stabbed in my wallet.
oh no, I was talking about the being a jerk to women
Okay, got it.
if there's nothing to gain, be it sexually or otherwise. That's the thing. There are people that are like that, and we call them out on their shit, and then that's that, right? But there's a difference between, oh, there are some people like that, and saying, if this happened, this is how this guy and all guys would react. Because if they showed another guy not being like this, all right. But this is someone who's a psychiatrist going, I can indeed assure you that this will happen. And it's like, oh, okay, of course it'll happen. And then even funnier, they don't focus on women, which is hilarious because it's like, really? You're going to focus on sexuality being taken away from everyone and not focus on women? You find a way to not, to be, like, arguably sexist in your sexism?
Yeah.
No, because, like, no, because think of it like this, right? It's the same thing when someone says, oh, we are going to, like someone who's homophobic, who's like, we're going to, kill those gay men. And you have, like, lesbian women that are like, look, I don't want to be killed, but can you at least include me? Right? Like, they're not even being talked about. They're being left out of the conversation completely. Like, even in your bigotry, you're still not including women. So in this case, right? So in this case, I'm not saying that this is considered bigotry necessarily, but it still is very problematic, and it's not even problematic to what it's saying about women. It's problematic to what it's saying about men. So I feel like everyone can be offended. It's not just, oh, you're offended because you're a woman. It's like, no. Even men can be offended. We're just like, really? Apparently that's just how we all are.
Yeah.
So it's one of those situations where, like, this is why, people talk about, like, oh, only women need feminism. No. Some people. No. Men need feminism too because it helps us get away from toxicity and bullshit like this. Where it's like, this is so stupid. And then what's even funnier, to me, this becomes funny. When they're like, oh, the birth rate just stops because people want to stop having kids. And it's just like, wait, wait a minute. No. You got to snap your fingers. You got to just bring it back to reality. They said they don't want to do that with each other. They didn't say they didn't want to have kids. Right. Those are two completely... So a psychiatrist saying this, you're like, oh, God, no, stop it. Like... Those are two completely separate things, right? Someone can say, I want to be able to take care of a child without saying, I want to be able to do the things to get to it. Like, it's like saying, oh, I want this item, right? Even though I was like comparing children to items. But I want this item. I want this, no, but it's like, seriously, right? I want it. But I don't want to make it. So that means you really don't want it. Like, wait, what? Like... I would like a sandwich, but I don't want to make a sandwich. Oh, so then clearly that means that you don't ever want sandwiches. No, I just don't want to put in the work to make it. But I would like it. Right? It's like saying, like, oh, wait, do you know how to create your own game system, Tristan? It's like, I don't. Well, then clearly you don't want the PS3. You have to make it from scratch to really want... no, it's stupid. It is stupid to say, just because, you don't want to make the thing, or go through the process of making the thing. And that's what's funny, too, by the way. It's not, to say, oh, sexual desire is gone. That just means that you don't want to hook up. That doesn't mean that you don't want to be like, look, just make the baby thing happen, and then we're good. All right? Like it's kind of funny. It's like, it's not like, men stopped. If they said, oh, men can't produce sperm anymore. No man can. Well, there is some, I believe there was like a study done, or there was like some kind of scientific, something done in a lab, where they were able to make a baby, or at least what could become a baby, through just a woman's eggs. No man needed. So, I mean, in that case, well, can still go on. But if women could reproduce and men can't reproduce, okay, now we're getting apocalyptic here. But you're just saying, oh, they don't want to be with each other, like in that way. It's like, okay, right? Like, it's so silly, and and of course, I think it's a scare tactic being done because there's a declining birth rate in Japan, right? So it's just a scare tactic to try and tell people like, please procreate. We need you to procreate.
Right.
But
Yeah.
but there's a difference between, oh, we need you to procreate, and if there's no sexual desire, men will be jerks and pigs, and the woman apparently still in this situation in the comic, the woman still like she isn't a jerk. Or she isn't like, yeah, no, she still seems like she's kind of interested in him. So it seems like love does exist, arguably, but not with the man. Oh no. It's just like, you are so dumb.
Yeah, I think there was something hinted to, the woman's side of it too, but not as much as they were going for, the man's side.
Right.
I think it was like, as he's saying all this, like, oh, I'm not giving you this gift that I got you, or
Right,
we're
yes,
not
that
going
too.
to an expensive place. She's like,
Yeah.
oh, really? Like, no, no, I want that. Can I still have it? But
Which again is worse because it makes her be like, well, why can't I have that? And she's like,
right,
because we're just friends. It's just like,
yeah,
if you
like you don't
arguably,
do
yeah,
nice things for your friends, regardless of their gender.
yeah, apparently not. Now you could argue this is a random person he would meet on the street, arguably, which,
Yeah,
yeah, then it might be weird. Like, okay, if it was like, oh, I'm not going to pay for your meal because it's now not because I don't want to. I'm not interested in dating you. That's not why we went out on this, date. And yeah, again, that's something that's very like, you have to get into that, right, with the person you're on a date with, stuff like that. If that's like your, like what you guys knew was going on, and you're like, yeah, look, now I don't feel sexual desire anymore. A typical Tuesday, and just went from all of us on Earth felt sexual desire, and now none of us do. Again,
right.
typical. But yeah, so maybe you can pay for your own meal because that's all this was going to be. And then you get slapped or not, whatever. That's just your discussion. But to just go from that 100 to 0, like, wait a minute, why do we even need to eat?
Right.
Like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, also, you're not getting a gift. Again, like, first off, too, what's really funny, if this wasn't his friend, who gives gifts on the first date? No, think about that, too, right? Like, you'll give, like chocolates or flowers, but a random gift?
Right.
Why would you do that on the first date? If the birth rate is so low in Japan, the fact that you got a date means that you might just be married already. you might have just, you did it. You won. No, but in all seriousness, right? All that alone was so much to unpack. All that stupidity.
Yeah.
And we didn't even get to the fact that, guess what? In case anyone doesn't know on the internet, ace people exist. Asexual people exist.
Yeah.
And they can still, A, want babies. B, just generally be nice people. I think we should also point that out, right? And, just...
Or even just have a relationship, too, if it's going to be
Yes.
that kind of,
Yeah, it won't be...
bond between two people, but...
Yes and no, because that's the thing, too. Like, you don't have to... Like, you can be in a relationship. Be like, oh, I love you. Oh, I love you. Oh, let's watch a movie together. Oh, let's go get dinner together. The only difference is that when, depending on, because there's just like there is there's a spectrum, with being, LGBT and being straight, and there's a whole giant spectrum. There's also a spectrum with being ace as well, right? So I'm not trying to just throw all ace people under the same banner that you're all, I'm not trying to do that. But what I'm saying is that most likely, not always, when there are two people that are together that are ace, or one that is ace and one that isn't, when they use the term, the only difference between two people that are, not ace and two people that are ace, is that when they say the term Netflix and chill, they really just mean Netflix and hanging out. That's like it. That's it. No, that's it, Tristan.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's true. That's like it. So there's that's all. In the relationship that I can think of, right? But again, it doesn't mean that two people, because that's the thing too, that's what's really interesting, is that, like, that this person clearly doesn't get, that two people, right, one ace, one not, or both ace, can kiss each other on the lips. And not be like, oh no, like, no, like, rip off their own lips or vomit, like, no, like, you can still do that. And you can still be in a relationship. You can still love another fucking human being. The fact that this person is a psychiatrist is insanity. It's ludicrous. It's I just cannot, because we've been talking about friendships the whole time, but even just other kinds of relationships. Like, there's just, everything is not black and white. There are shades of gray. There are different people in the world. And I can't imagine there not being ace people in Japan,
Right.
So, like, it is just insanity that, like, look, you wanna get people to procreate. You want to target, people that are getting married to like digital, characters and body
Yeah.
pillows and stuff like that. Okay, right? You can argue that that might not be healthy
Right.
when you want them to procreate and keep the whole, nation going, right?
Yeah.
But that is a lot different. And if the person is ace, then I wouldn't, I'm not saying, pair them up with someone and make them procreate. But what I'm saying is
Yeah.
that, it's just the idea that, like, you could try to target that, but to, the whole, like, body pillow, digital character. But to say, oh, if there was no sexual desire whatsoever, that's the thing, too, by the way. Just saying no sexual desire whatsoever. And then this is the case.
Humanity would grind to a halt.
Would
Yeah.
grind to a halt,
Yeah.
right? One. And two, just be jerks to each other.
Right.
It's like, really? Really?
Yeah.
Like, so many things. Like, we're not going to get into everything else. Like, oh, sex crimes could potentially go down. Other crimes could go down. We're not going to even go into that. It's just the idea that, the complete lack of understanding that, yes, I understand looking at it from Japanese context. The birth rate's low. I get it. But just to make it seem like, oh, this is what would happen. If they said, look, if no one has any sexual desire, then they won't have kids. That would sound silly, but you know what? That's the least offensive connection I think you can make, right? Oh, they won't want to have kids. Okay, I guess. And then society will crumble because everyone will be old and everyone else will be dead. Well, I mean, if there's no kids being made, then yes, right? But, it's just crazy to go, and then everyone will be mean to each other. It's just like, yes, because everyone is so happy now with the current arrangement.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, man, there's just no crime now. Everyone's so happy. Everyone loves each other.
Right.
Because they want to have sex. Like, what the fuck? No. What the
Yeah.
fuck? No.
And I think the thing that bothered me about it the most was because this whole thing, like, that the man and the woman on the date is like the example that is given. The comic starts off with these, I think, like four, schoolgirls,
Right,
and
yes.
they see four other guys like looking at
Yeah.
images, and
Lewd images. Is that what it's?
yeah, right,
Lewd in class, by the way. What?
yeah,
Senpai?
and like the guys are giving rude comments and stuff like that, and they're like, oh, this is, and they say to each other like, oh, this is disgusting, this is kind of bad, like, what if we had a world without this? And then this is where this
Right.
whole dream scenario
Oh,
comes from.
right. I'm
And then
sorry.
the
Yes.
very ending of it is what got me mad, because they're like, oh, so this is what would happen if we didn't have sexual desire. So it's like, okay, are you defending
The guy being a dick.
the guys, well, yeah, or even the high school guys, like bad behavior of looking at nudes in class, and then the end of it, the girls go, oh, you're right, that would be terrible, we apologize.
Yeah, you know what it is? That's the thing too. Because look, yes, I'm not saying you can't teach teenagers things, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, because they're teenage girls. They're not like adult grown women. But the point is that, like, because they are in high school or whatever grade they're supposed to be in.
Yeah.
But the point is that just the idea that it's just like, thank you for teaching us that guys will be dicks to us if we don't give them like, yes, that isn't directly implied that, oh, they'll be dicks if they don't give us, if we don't give them sex. It's not directly implied, or directly shown, rather. In my opinion, it's implied. But it's directly shown that, yeah, if there was no sexual desires, guys would be jerks. And that's something you would have to live with, and then Japan would die. So do you not want guys looking at nudes in class now? Jenny?
Right, yeah.
I localized her name. But
on the fly, too.
On the fly, too, right? Well, Samantha, how do you feel about this? Wow, yeah. I realize that there should both be sexual desire and donuts that are really rice balls. Also, our ramen place should be a burger place. And in later games, we'll maybe change it. Or not. The point is, look, all jokes aside, right? All localization jokes aside. Yeah, this is such bullshit because, I thank you for reminding me, they then have to be, it's the whole thing is them being taught. As if it's just like, you need to understand, girls. These men are basically there just for that. And that's basically what you're there for. Otherwise, there would be nothing. Sleep tight. It's like, do you wonder why literally both men and women and everyone else everyone else are just like, no. No. Right? So I think, just to summarize all of this, bullshit. What the fuck? We're done. Just screw this. No, I mean, I would prefer that this psychiatrist stops being a psychiatrist. That's the one thing that I'll just say, right? Because the creator, the person who wrote it, the artist, look, again, if it was just that person, I would hand wave it as bad comedy.
Yeah.
That's what I would say. Oh, it was comedy. It wasn't good comedy, but it was an attempt, right?
Yeah. But, it feels like they were trying to go with a lighter air about it.
Yeah.
But not saying you can't make jokes, but it depends on the way that you construct it and deliver it. And something like this is not easily talked about humorously.
And I would argue you can try to say, no, it's trying to parody that. If it was done only from a comedy writer, I'd be like, oh my god, it's so over the top. That clearly the girl's even saying, we're sorry. It's like, oh, it's a complete joke. This is insanity.
It's not meant to be taken seriously at all.
But there's a psychiatrist that's attaching their name to this, saying, no, I'm spearheading this. This is what I say will happen based on my shitty worldview. And that's why they get the first ever Those Guys middle finger. It's like a review score, but with a middle finger. Yeah. They get one. All right, they get one. How many will Dragon Ball Evolution get?